Hello everyone, welcome back to one more haul video. Finally, I had a little bit of time. Um, I went a couple of times to my LCS when I buy all my Silver Age stuff, and I decided to go this time to the dollar books. It's been a while since I had my rounds over there, and I was a little bit short of money, so I decided to just take a quick peek and see what I found. Uh, After the charade of my last new comic book day, I decided to really go back in time and look what were on the beans back in the 90s and 80s and whatnot. So I've got a little stack of books. I'm probably not going to go into too much detail with them because they're quite a few. But I'll show you all the nice little goodies that there were in the beans back in the modern golden age of the comic books, as I would like to call it. So here we have Superman Action Comics 587. I love this cover. John Byrne, of course. I'm trying to see if I can get the run of John Byrne, and he did Action Comics, and also he did Superman. I'm not sure if he did Adventures of Superman. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I do have the Man of Steel miniseries, and then after that, I think he moved on the Superman title. But I'm just gonna start looking and digging them out. They're not that expensive. I already have a couple of ones between George Perez and John Byrne. They were amazing numbers. This one with the demon behind Superman. I mean, look at the expression. Just look at the dynamic, and I love how the buildings and the city in behind, it's all in white, and how everything, I mean, so bright colors, and it brings up the fighting between Demon and Superman. It's just pretty cool. And then we have here this Action Comics 597, again John Byrne, and this looks like a cover of an Archie and Veronica, really. But I thought it was pretty cool, and I like it. I mean, for a buck, this is all dollar books, by the way. And here we have Action Comics Weekly. I think it's Action Comics 602. I'm not too familiar with this comic because I'm not a great DC fan, but I believe Action Comics turned it into Action Comics Weekly. There were a bunch of comics for different stories with other characters that they were not just Superman. And this one, I love the cover. I mean, Green Lantern. I like Green Lantern. It's never really my to-go guy from DC, but I like it. And really, this cover is amazing. I was trying to figure it out who it was. I don't know if it's George Perez. Looks like George Perez, but yeah, I really like it. It's like it really caught my attention. The expression of Green Lantern, how he's going in free fall on the city. I mean, the details on the city, it's amazing. And this being done all by hand, digital or whatever. It's pretty cool. And then here we have Action Comics 614. Amazing cover by Mike Mignola. I love that guy. I think he's amazing. I love Hellboy. Whenever I see something from Mignola that is not Hellboy, I try to grab my hands on it. And this cover, it just draw to me. I mean, the sun in the background, and then all the shade from Green Lantern. Really just draw to me. And then here we have 643 Action Comics. Great, this is George Perez, and classic cover for Superman. Classic cover, really dig it. Really nice. Here we have Action Comics 662, which when I think Lois Lane finds out that Clark Kent is Superman. Not too sure about that, but I believe this is the cover. I remember reading this book, the Mexican version of it. I own this book, and I really like it, so that's why I'm trying to dig in on these ones. And then here we have Superman 44 with Batman. I remember this story just a little bit, and I really like it. Um, I'm gonna try to find out the other two. Now here we have an example of the only times that I buy a book for its cover. A is Jim Lee. This is when Jim Lee was pretty hot back in Marvel. And B, it's a book. Can't go wrong, right? I mean, for a buck, getting a Jim Lee cover, Ghost Rider, X-Men behind. I think the book is pretty solid. I think it's either Andy or Adam Kubert who draws the interior. I'm not 100% sure. But I think the cover, the book is really solid. Same with this one, Ghost Rider number 27. Another book that I bought off the shelf, and I used to own, but I lost when I lost my my comic book collection back in the day. And this one again, love the Jim Lee cover. I think I'm not sure. I'm debating it's either Jim Lee or Mark Silvestri. My favorite Wolverine. I think my favorite Wolverine is Mark Silvestri, and then Jim Lee. But I love this costume. This Wolverine is pretty cool. So yeah, for $2, those great comics. Of course, I wouldn't think about it. And then we go to the Avengers. Avengers number 216. I have quite a few, so I'm just gonna go a little bit quickly. Really dig this cover with Tigra and the Avengers in the background. Pretty cool. Avengers 219. Here's something that I don't quite understand. This looks like it's in the space, or it looks like. But I mean, I understand Thor and Iron Man don't need a helmet, but the Wasp, Captain America. So I'm assuming it's probably then the Earth. But the way that this cover it's made, it almost made me think that they're in space. Avengers 221, really cool cover. I like this cover when they show all the rosters from Avengers or all the characters. There's a few that are like this, and they're pretty cool. Really like them. This is a really good cover. I really like it. Avengers 225. This one I love more. Avengers 230. I mean, just look at this cover. It's amazing. The way that Captain America, Thor, and Hawkeye are looking at the costume of a fallen Yellow Jacket. It's really cool. I like these little details in the shadow. It almost feels like it's a dark rain on them. So it's pretty cool. I really like it. Have Avengers 232. Another nice little bronze Avengers. More dollar books. Avengers 233 with Captain Marvel. I think Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, was part of the roster of Avengers. I mean, I don't know too much about the character. I know there's been a lot of talk about it because of the Captain Marvel movie and what they did to the story. But John Byrne, can't go wrong. Really cool. Here we have Avengers 238. Another amazing cover. Al Milgrom, I think it is this one. Milgrom, yeah. Pretty neat, pretty cool. This one I like a lot. Avengers 240. I really didn't picture Spider-Woman in the Avengers until I started to read the New Avengers back in, I think it was early 2000, I'm gonna say. Can't remember. With David Finch. And it happened to be a Skrull. Or the Queen of Skrulls, I believe, in the invasion. Everything came out. But this, when I saw this comic with the faded Spider-Woman here, and everybody looking up and down on her, and I was like, this is pretty cool. It's almost like the character just faded away and disappeared at some point in time. Avengers 250, the Mighty Avengers. They changed the title, 250. Really, really cool cover. I mean, how the Avengers are kind of like pulling out or slipping through the fist. Really, really cool. Then we have Avengers 255. Not too bad. Didn't really like too much this cover. Hey, it's a book. Avengers 261, part of the Secret Wars number 2 against the Beyonder, I believe. This one is cool. Avengers 264, the new Yellow Jacket against Wasp. Again, Buscema. Pretty cool cover. I like this type of covers, this type of backgrounds. They're simple, but they give action to the cover, and the bright yellows and the bright blues. Really, really nice. This one's a cool one. Another Secret War 2 comic. Pretty cool. This one I remember having it as a kid in Spanish. Love it. Triumph of Blastar. Love this book. It's really cool. Let me take this out. As you can see, quite a few really nice dollar books. This is all dollar books, man. This is beautiful. If anybody that is buying comics now that never bought in those times, I mean, you don't know what you're missing. I really recommend going to the bargain books, going to the low dollar bins, and start looking back from 2000, late 90s, back until the late 70s. So 80s and 90s, great place for stories. Also 70s. This one is pretty cool. Epilogue of Secret Wars 2. This one's amazing. I think this one is from the $3 bin. Still, I paid $3 for the book any given day before the books that I really just bought. The Kang Lives. This is a couple of few part stories with Kang. Pretty cool. A little bit of X-Men squeeze in here. 268. Really, really nice. This is amazing. Kang versus Immortus. 269. Look at this cover. Pretty cool. The Avengers fighting in the background. Who knows who? But here you have the two big bad guys of same characters at different times, just fighting against each other. Really, really, really cool cover. And even though the background is just plain pink, because the way that this is being drawn, the way that you have Kang and Immortus fighting within each other, almost biting with the teeth, and with the background of if we will take out this Captain America, Hercules and whatnot here for the background, this would have very, very, very simple cover, which probably wouldn't attract many people. But just adding enough in the background, it just gives enough to enhance this cover. Pretty cool. Avengers, staring amazing Spider-Man. Can't say no when Spider-Man pops into either the Avengers, Fantastic Four, or the X-Men. Can't really say no to that. I also remember owning this book. Pretty cool. About this one, what the? The only reason that I bought it is just because of the cover. This is a dollar book, and it has Punisher and Wolverine, a couple of my all-time favorite character, and one of my top 5 characters. And it's pretty cool. I mean, this is a stupid magazine. It's kind of like the math version of Marvel for their comics. I just found it pretty hilarious, so I just bought it. Here we have the Punisher, annual number 1, the Evolutionary War. I'm trying to during these annuals, you saw the Evolutionary War, You saw, I think it was Days of Future Present, and then there was another one. I'm losing it. Evolutionary War. Oh man, there was another one, pretty famous too. Anyways, can't remember. My mind went blank here. Atlantis Attack. Atlantis Attack. I got the whole Atlantis Attack story in the annuals. I'm trying to get my hands on the Evolutionary War ones. There were some pretty common. This one, these New Mutants, and this Punisher. I don't really see them that much. And then here we have the New Warriors, number 7, Mark Bagley, Punisher, pretty amazing. The New Warriors, it was an A-OK book. It was not too bad. It was kind of like the equivalent of the Young Avengers of their time. They tried to drop them into the mainstream, and I don't think they went really good. I think eventually they disappeared. I haven't seen Night Thrasher in ages. Only a handful of them. You'll still see them in action here and there now. We have New Warriors number 8. This is, I mean, compare this cover with the cover that you see nowadays. Probably I'm gonna say 80% of the covers of current new books are dull. They don't reflect what's inside of the comic book on the story. They have really no action. They really have no sense. And then sometimes the only cool covers that you can see is because they're some from some of those artists that you can't really like, J. Scott Campbell. And even those, sometimes they have nothing to do with the cover, just the character. And they're not dynamic. I mean, but look at this. I mean, this is pretty cool. You can only divide the story in 2 parts, and then you give them action to it. This is something that we rarely see in new comic books now. Rarely seen in new comic books. Man, look at this. The New Warriors get starring Punisher. Pretty awesome. Here one, I'm not too sure about the background. You don't see the Punisher, the full figure. You only see the torso to the head. So I'm not too sure about the background. Maybe if the background would have been a little bit different, maybe portraying, I don't know, either night or sun or the day or something, would have been a little bit better. Pretty cool, like this. And then here we have New Warriors number 10 with the White Queen. Pretty cool. Classic cover. And then beautiful New Warriors number 11, guest starring Wolverine. I love Mark Bagley. Jesus. Really cool. I like this. And then here we have the second part of, couldn't find number 13. I'm gonna see if I can look at once in a while. Kid comic to the dollar bin. Another cool comic. Man, this is cool. I mean, all these books. I mean, heck, 98% of them, other than 3 or 4 books that you have seen in this stack, they're all dollar books, and they are all amazing. At least to my liking. I know many people, they may not like them because they find that the old stories, they weren't that great. Well, guess what, guys? The new stories are just horrible. I take the worst story of 80s and 90s against the worst story of now. Any given day, I'll take it. I don't care. New stories, dull, most of them, of course. The majority of them, I'll say 90% of them, they're just, I take the worst story from the Bronze Age, and compare it with the worst story of the modern age, and holy cow, The new stories make the Bronze Age look like I don't know, a literature awards. They're amazing. This one have Justice League. The only reason that I bought this is because I kind of like dig the two characters. I like when they were introduced. I read a little bit of the Justice League this time, just a small little bit back in Mexico when I was back in the day when they were the prints in Spanish, and I kind of like it. How Guy Gardner, it always had it against Lobo. So I not only like this cover because of this, but because of the companion. I mean, this is pretty cool. How often do you see this? How often do you see covers like this, that the two books have this type of dynamic where they go back and forward? When we have here Lobo menacing or beating up or bullying Guy Gardner, and then guess what? I'm back. This is pretty cool. That was the only reason why I bought these two books. They are pretty amazing. And I think that's it. I think I'm going to stop there. I already showed a lot of books. I have a small little stack of other books, but I'm probably going to show them in another video, something more smaller. But there you go, guys. A plethora of $1 books. To me, all amazing books, all in the bargain bins. They're just there waiting for people to go and grab them. I mean, and many of these books that you see here, they were like 2, 3, or 4 times in the dollar bin in my LCS. I was like, holy cow. So it's just great. So you know what, guys? Next time, take a look at the dollar bins. Take a look at the bargain books. And I'm sure you're going to find lots of good stuff there that you're going to grab. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you on the next time. Take care.